Thank you so much, Gustavo. So, well, with that, actually, it's a perfect lead into our next speaker. So, our next speaker is going to be Eileen O'Driscoll. She's a very close friend of mine. We're delighted to have her here. And she's going to be giving a talk on the Miraculous Medal. So, Eileen O'Driscoll is from Cork. She studied theology at undergraduate and master's level in Maynooth University, and she was involved with the Youth Legion Presidium in the college while studying there and loved the fellowship and outreach that the Legion made possible. Eileen's work involves catechetics. I hope I pronounced that right, Eileen. She is co-host of a radio program called Life to the Full and loves to add music. I've had the privilege of playing with Eileen and we sound quite good together. So Eileen, whenever you're ready, fire away.
Lovely. Thanks so much, Annie and Sarah and everyone at the youth conference. It's been so lovely so far. So thank you so much. And great talks already and testimonies. So today it's lovely to be able to share with you on the Miraculous Medal. I've actually found myself, the more I've been reading about it, the more love it's even increased in me for the Miraculous Medal and just how inspiring it is. And so wonderful to wear one as well. So just to begin with the Miraculous Medal, for anyone that might know, it's considered a sacramental. So a sacramental is something that the church teaches is disposes us or opens us up or prepares us to receive God's grace and blessings. So our Mother Mary, being the generous mother that she is, has given us this wonderful medal as a way of disposing God's graces and blessings to us. So I just like to share with you my screen now. So I hope this works okay. So get this here. So hope can everyone see that okay?
Yep, we can see it there.
Perfect. And I'm just trying to get the slideshow. Okay, so in the first one, you can see here, this is the Miraculous Medal, as you can see here from the images. But just before I go into explaining about the medal itself, I'd like to share with you some of the history attached to the medal and the saint who was so blessed to receive the message about the Miraculous Medal as well. So Saint Catherine the Bourré was the famous saint who the Miraculous Medal revelation was given to. And Saint Catherine the Bourré was born in France in 1806. She came from a very big family, and from a young age she had developed a deep relationship with Our Lady. She had actually lost her own mother at a young age, and it's said that from that point, there was one day in a church where St. Catherine of Bourré just prayed before Our Lady and asked her to be her mother now, her spiritual mother. And so that really primed her heart, I think, for her future and God's plan for her, because we'll see how that was fulfilled soon. But also from a young age, St. Catherine felt called to join the Daughters of Charity. And for anyone that might know, the Daughters of Charity were founded by St. Vincent de Paul. So St. Catherine joined the Daughters of Charity in January 1830. And then just a few months later, she moved to a famous chapel in Paris, the convent there in Rue de Bac, Paris, which is now known as the Chapel of the Miraculous Medal as well. And also, I just think what is interesting, before I go into the apparitions that St. Catherine received, is that St. Catherine developed a lovely devotion to St. Vincent de Paul. And there's some very interesting stories around this, which I really think point out God's providence and how that providence even plays out throughout the whole story of the Miraculous Medal as well. But one of the stories is that as she developed such a love for St. Vincent de Paul, she had a revelation of his heart one evening while she was praying to him. And it said that she prayed to him that she may one day be graced to see Our Lady So we'll see how that was fulfilled now as well. So the very first apparition that St. Catherine received was in July 1830. And bearing in mind, St. Catherine was a young novice. She wasn't yet a professed sister, and she was probably only around the age 24, so she was young. And the incredible thing is that it happened on the eve of the feast of St. Vincent de Paul, the very saint that she was praying very fervently to increase her love for Mary as well. And so then when at the midnight of this feast day, St. Catherine feels someone calling her to go to the convent chapel. And this is at midnight, so all the other sisters are asleep. The place is in darkness. And as she gets to the chapel, she sees that it's totally illuminated. So she goes into the chapel, and there she sees Our Lady is seated there. And in this very first apparition, Our Lady doesn't reveal to her her plans just yet, but she does confirm for St. Catherine that God has incredible plans for her and that she will be needed. But in this particular apparition, what I think is so lovely is, as you can see maybe in the image there, St. Catherine was invited to kneel before the lap of Mary. And it's said that they conversed for 2 hours. And in some accounts, you'll see that they described it as a heart-to-heart conversation. And I think that's very beautiful. I think that captures really the essence, even coming to the medal, the message of the medal, but this heart-to-heart conversation in itself is a miracle to come so close to Mary, which is what she desires, but that she also comes to us and she meets us where we're at, just as she did for St. Catherine on that particular evening as well. So then St. Catherine received a second apparition of Our Lady on the 27th of November of the same year, 1930 as well. And in this one is where she receives the image of how the medal should be struck. And Our Lady instructs her to have a medal struck upon this model, and that anyone who shall wear it shall receive great graces. And she also instructs her that people should wear it around their neck. And of course, it seems like a very practical instruction. But just upon reflecting on it, even when we wear something around our neck, it's close to our heart as well. And of course, that's where Our Lady desires to be, is close to our heart. So from the image, you can see here, what St. Catherine saw was Our Lady standing upon a globe, and she was crushing the head of the serpent, which of course symbolizes the crushing of evil. And then also you see graces emanating from the hands of Mary, and a beautiful stream of light coming from Mary's hands, all the graces that she wishes to dispose and to share upon her children. And then you will also see a crown of 12 stars, which I will explain as well in a minute, just with a close-up shot of the medal here. So you can see there are two sides to the Miraculous Medal. For anyone who's ever received a little packet with a medal in it and a brochure, there's a very nice title on the top saying the many sides of the Miraculous Medal. And I think that's very true, because there's certainly lots of threads that are interwoven in this story that can't be captured all in this short talk. But you will see here in the first side of the medal, there's a prayer to Mary, and Mary gives this revelation to St. Catherine that she desires this prayer to be written on the medal. O Mary, conceived without sin, pray for us who have recourse to thee. And then again, you can see the graces coming from the hands of Mary. And on the reverse side of the medal, is where there's so much symbolism that explains about what we believe as Catholics on Mary, and even the relationship between Mary and Jesus and the church as well. So the 12 stars represent the 12 apostles. Then we also have two hearts, the hearts of Jesus and the heart of Mary, united. And then we also have a cross surmounted. It looks like it's surmounted on an altar even, and we have the letter M there as well. M being for Mary, a mother, and the cross representing Christ and Mary's presence with Christ at his time at the cross. And maybe we could also see it as representing the Mass and the Eucharist, the great sacrifice that occurs at every Mass, where we believe Mary is also present as well. So as you can see, there's a lot of imagery to the medal, and it's a great way of explaining to people about the faith as well in very simple terms, because the image is a lovely way to be able to explain to someone what each thing means, and it's a way of sowing seeds and questions for people if they have more to know about the faith, which we all do. We're always learning as well, but also even about the deeper meaning of the medal. And I'll just like to share with you just some words on particular saints who were very struck by the medal themselves. So here is an image actually from Rue de Boc Chapel in Paris, and you see Our Lady there just above the altar, and above her the image of her and St. Catherine de Bourry together. So just to share with you briefly some saints and the Miraculous Medal. So hopefully I have time, but just to share a very famous miracle that occurred not long after the medal was distributed. So it took 2 years before the medal could be struck and approved, because St. Catherine's confessor, it took him a while to be convinced of the authenticity of her visions. And eventually, when he was, he had to take this to the Archbishop, and a commission was set up to investigate St. Catherine's visions and the messages she received, and everything was seen to be in line with church teaching. And so it was approved. And so 2 years later, in 1832, the first batch of medals were distributed across Paris, and then became so popular across France and across the world eventually as well. But one of the first ones, I suppose, popular one that we know of, there were many, is a man called Alphonse Ratisbonne. And you'll see his image. He's the second image just in from the pictures of the medals. And he was a Jewish man, but later is said to have lost faith in God. And he was, his brother had converted to Catholicism and was a priest. And this actually made Alphonse very angry, and he held a lot of antagonism towards the church. But at one point when he was journeying in Rome, he came across an old friend of his, and this friend had become Catholic also, which also made Alphonse quite angry. But then his friend offered to give him a miraculous medal, and after some apprehension, he agreed to wear it. And not long afterwards, when he was visiting a chapel in Rome, and he goes to a side altar of the chapel, a vision of Our Lady as she appeared on the miraculous medal appeared to him, and he was really just struck to the heart, and it received an imminent knowledge of the faith as well. Actually, at this moment, the truths of the faith just became totally alive in his heart, and it truly was an incredible miracle. So he went on and converted to Catholicism and became a priest. So he's someone, I suppose, who should give us great confidence in the power of the medal, that no one's outside of Our Lady's reach, and that she will stop at nothing to really reach out to every soul and does not withhold anything from us. So And then, of course, the third image in is St. Maximilian Kolbe, who also loved the Miraculous Medal and called it a heavenly weapon. And we have Mother Teresa as well. There's nice stories that she used to go around distributing medals while she was serving the poor. And she would carry them along with her. And it said that as she would give one to a person that she met, that she would tell them in any time of distress, just simply pray, Mary, Mother of Jesus, please be a mother to me now. And of course, we can see how motivated she was by love of Mary herself, even in the very colors she chose for her habit and sari as well. And then we also have Pope John Paul II, who visited Rue de Bac as well in 1980. And there is a story that the image of the Miraculous Medal on the reverse side inspired his own papal coat of arms in its design. And then, of course, we also have the Legion and Frank Duff, who was so inspired as well to distribute the Miraculous Medals to many of the people encountered through Legion activity, and who founded the Legion in 1921. So they're very brief overviews. There's a lot more detail that could be shared on those saints and how they were impacted by the Miraculous Medal. But I think maybe just to, before I conclude, that I think the most important thing is it signifies Mary's presence with us. It shows us that wherever Mary is, Christ is always there present too. It's just like we can't experience the heat of the sun without the sun itself being present in the sky. And so where Mary brings her graces, Christ is always there present as well. And I think keeping it close to our heart when we wear the medal and really trusting in that protection and grace that Mary brings us, having confidence in it. And also, even when we're sharing it with other people, that we know it's not just us and the other person we're giving the medal to, but that Mary herself is truly present in that moment as well. And though we can't always see immediate results, even in our own lives or the lives of others, we can truly trust that Mary is working. She's an active mother. Grace is never stationary or stagnant. Grace is always flowing, as we see from her hands. And we really should entrust all that to her. We see her hands are open to us always. And we can always remember that when we venerate and wear our medal as well. So I'm not sure how we are for time, but let's.
Well, that was lovely.
So such a beautiful talk, Eileen. Yeah, and I think what's particularly interesting as well is so many of those saints that you showed us there, a lot of them lost their own natural mother at a young age, and I think that like it just goes to show the heart of Mary as well, that she just reaches out, and it's the invite that's there for us if we just are open to receiving it as well.